Hello, I'm meteorologist Morris Langley. Some severe weather is going to be pushing through our area today. I have all the details in your forecast up next.
I'm Paula Jasper. If you've ever wondered about the history of Flag Day, stay tuned.
I'm Abigail Blackrick in Cadillac, where a local TV station is celebrating 5 years on the air. I'll have that story next.
Wake up, you gotta shine with the sun. And here it comes, it's time to make the best of what you got to give. To live with every bit of your intention. And if I didn't mention, well, I know just a thing that's gonna get you through. And if you ever need to see a smiling face, I know right where you can find one. Each and every day, it's all about my news. You better get ready. It's all about my news on a beautiful day. There's so much to find out. I wanna know right now. It's all about my news. Now I wanna be there. It's all about my news. You better get ready. It's all about my news, and I wanna be there.
Right now, it really is all about My News, as My News 26 celebrates exactly 5 years on the air. Hello, I'm Abigail Blackrick. That jingle is one that will sound very familiar to viewers who have been watching My News 26 since its launch. It was used for our first couple years on the air after an ambitious project to launch Michigan's first and only 24/7 local news channel came to fruition, and it all started in the basement of this house.
We were just a whole bunch of young people trying to start something that, we thought could go somewhere.
My News 26 launched with its very first newscast at 7 p.m. on February 27, 2011. But the story of the station goes back much farther than that.
I worked with Charter, actually, to take advantage of what's called Local Edition. It was a 5-minute slot that used to be on what's now HLN. Back then it was called CNN Headline News. And it was basically the last 5 minutes of every half hour the network had set up where a local TV station could go in and put in a 5-minute local news break. And nobody up here on Charter in Northern Michigan was utilizing that. So we worked with Charter, and I had a pre-existing relationship with one of the people in the Charter media department there, fantastic lady who was very, very supportive, and went up to the high-ups, and we somehow, I'm still not entirely sure how we pulled this off, but at the time I had just graduated high school, probably 18, 19 at the time, and we convinced Charter to let us put together this Local Edition broadcast.
Hello and thanks for watching Local Edition. I'm Eric Watilla.
We would be very features-oriented, and 5 minutes of features, locally oriented, every half hour would run on there. And that studio, because this was a startup, and I had just bought a large house downtown Cadillac with way more space than I knew what to do with. So in the basement, I built a news set, or rather the guy who ended up building this set for My News 26 built a news set for us. And so I had, you walk into my house, you walk into a living room, you walk downstairs, and there's a TV studio. And that was really the first set that we utilized, again, kind of the predecessor to My News 26.
That predecessor, Local Edition, was on the air from Eric Wotilla's basement for close to 2 years. And those 2 years were when the first two people behind My News 26 met.
Eric and I met over email. That was how we first started talking, and then that was back in Local Edition days. So we decided that, Local Edition needed some weather, and so that's how we all started this adventure. We were talking about doing local weather on Local Edition, and then the economy hit in 2008. And it was decided that they were going to turn off Local Edition because of budget cuts.
And even though we might be ending our program, I fully believe that when one door closes, 2 more will open, and I look forward to the opportunities that the future holds.
But in 2010, Local Edition came back with just weather. We had named it under the Local Edition brand, but we just did the weather online.
While Dylan Rodenbaugh and Eric Wotilla worked publicly in 2010 to produce webcasts under the brand of a canceled newscast, there was much more going on behind the scenes than met the eye.
Contact of mine who owns another TV station clued me in in 2009 that the FCC was opening up a window to file for new, what we call low-power TV stations to launch. It's a class of broadcast license. And I fiddled around. It was going to cost a few $1,000s in legal fees and engineering and licensing to just try and put in the application to get a permit to do this. And I was right on the edge, and a mentor of mine who is no longer with us finally gave me the push and said, stop messing around, stop questioning this, stop debating, what'll it take to put this on air? And we basically figured, well, we need this much to get it started, he said. And this man was the most giving man you'll ever meet, a wonderful philanthropist, older fellow. And so he said, okay, so it'll take that to get it on air. We were sitting at lunch, he cut me a check for, basically what it would take to get that license rolling to put in that application process. And we did it. We put in the license application and built it up from there.
Problem was we didn't know when the FCC would actually grant us to go on. So this was the summer before that winter when we were granted the permit to go on air. So we already had some talking with investors. Scott was one of the big ones, and that's when we started ramping up the weather on Local Edition. Hello everyone, I'm Dylan Rodenbaugh, welcome to this Local Edition weather update. This afternoon we're going to continue to keep with the cloudy conditions, high around 65. The winds are also going to be west-northwest at 15. Now later on this evening,
when My News 26 came together, there was a gap after Local Edition. Before we launched My News 26, and I stayed in touch with Dylan the whole time. He was a cool kid, and basically, as My News 26 came together, Dylan was there every step of the way. From when I applied for the license, I basically told him, hey, I'm trying to make a TV station happen. You want to be part of it? And he was so excited to be a part. And he made a lot of the early decisions. He's the reason we went to HD. I unfortunately had to be the guy looking, and still do, not my favorite part of the job, but have to be the guy looking at the money, the bean counter, and I'm sitting here trying to build the station saying, well, look, we can get all this standard def equipment, very high-end stuff off a station in, I think it was Virginia, that just upgraded to HD. So we pile up this standard def equipment. Dylan's like, no, we got to do HD. We got to do HD. Nobody else hears HD yet. And I'm sitting here saying, yeah, nobody else is HD. We don't need to do it yet either, and we'll still be on par with other people. He's like, well, let's not be on par. Let's get ahead of them. So that's what we did. Dylan convinced me, and we did it on the most shoestring budget possibly imaginable, but we pulled it off. We launched the station in HD, and that was all Dylan. And there's so many things early on that he convinced me to do that I was hesitant on, that we wouldn't be where we are without him. There's no question about that.
So we could have just launched an SD. That would have been the easy thing. But why not push the envelope a little bit and be the Northern Michigan's first TV station in high definition?
And push the envelope, we did. When we come back, we'll take a look at the significance of what's now this yoga studio and what it took to bring the first videos Northern Michigan ever saw in HD to the airwaves. That's up next when our 5 years of 26 special continues.